Looking for the best mining motherboard for your cryptocurrency mining rig? In this video, we've done an extensive review of the top motherboards for mining cryptocurrencies, and we discuss all their key features and what things to consider before you pick the best one for you. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video from us. So let's get started. Price information on all motherboards mentioned in the video are available in the description. Number 5. Gigabyte Z390UD. The Gigabyte Z390UD is a great mining motherboard for those users who do not want to invest in a purpose-built mining motherboard. This is a desktop motherboard that can be used for your normal gaming PC as well, but it's also a potent mining board if configured correctly. When fully populated, the Gigabyte Z390UD can support up to 6 GPUs. This is not a lot when compared to other mining motherboards, but it will give you a platform to begin mining without investing in purpose-built hardware. You can also begin mining with your desktop computer with this motherboard. Being a gaming-focused motherboard using a premium Z-series chipset, the Z390UD has an excellent power delivery system. The 10 plus 2-phase VRM design is an overkill of any sort of mining rig, but it might come in handy if you ever want to try your hand at overclocking an Intel Core i9-9900K down the line. You also get proper 4x DIMM slots with support for dual-channel DDR4 memory. Other notable features include the M2 slot for your NVMe SSD, the relatively impressive rear I/O with lots of USB 3.1 ports, an HDMI port for display, and numerous SATA 6 GB per second ports. An impressive feature is the ultra-durable Z390UD is the reinforcement of the PCIe slots. Gigabyte has added an extra layer of steel around the PCIe slots to reinforce them, therefore giving the user extra peace of mind. The slot should be able to bear the weight of any GPU with that added strength. Since this is a Z390 motherboard, you can also use 8th or 9th generation Intel CPUs on it. You can also use a flagship CPU on it, and the power delivery will be able to handle it, but that does not make much sense from an investment standpoint. The Gigabyte Z390UD is a great motherboard for beginners since it's not a dedicated mining motherboard and can be used in traditional gaming PCs. It does have relatively few PCIe slots, but the value proposition is too good to pass on. We recommend the Gigabyte Z390UD to any users who want to start out with a basic mining setup. This board might just be the best entry-level mining motherboard you can get your hands on. Number 4. Biostar TB360 BTC Pro. Biostar's TB360 BTC Pro is another excellent choice for a mining motherboard despite the awful naming convention. It falls in the mid-range when it comes to mining motherboards. Therefore, the value proposition is favorable as well. Of course, the highlight feature of the TB360 BTC Pro is its ability to support 12 graphics cards. You can make use of riser cables to install the graphics cards since most of the slots are of the PCIe x1 variety. This does not really matter in a mining rig, however, as most mining operations use riser cables anyway. The close proximity to the PCIe x1 slots can make it a pain to set up for the first time, especially if you're a beginner. However, a little electrical tape between the riser cables goes a long way. One of the most unique features of this board is its ability to use 2 power supplies simultaneously. Therefore, you don't need to set up jumpers in order to get enough power for your graphics cards. This feature is not very common in other mining motherboards. The Biostar TB360 makes use of the B360 chipset, of course, and therefore supports Intel's 8th and 9th generation CPUs. This might be a slight problem as most of the CPUs will only be available on the used market right now. Biostar has equipped the board with other rudimentary features as well. There's also an M2 storage along with some SATA ports. You can also find a basic array of USB ports and networking around the back. The board supports both HDMI and VGA output for display, which is a neat touch. There's also an optimized mining mode in the BIOS, which makes the setup a breeze. All mining motherboards should definitely adopt this feature. Despite the optimization, some users have reported stability issues when all the PCIe slots are populated. This issue, however, seems to be marginal as of right now. All in all, there's not a lot to complain about with the Biostar TB360 BTC Pro. This board can help you start your own mining operation without breaking the bank. Number 3. ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus. If you want a custom mining motherboard for a mining rig and don't want to deal with riser cables, then the ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus is the board to go for. It's also an insanely good deal, which is why we've chosen it as the best budget mining motherboard in our list. First things first, the H510 Pro BTC Plus is not your normal ATX form factor. You'll have a hard time finding a case to fit this monstrosity. However, this 501 by 224 millimeter board is exactly the form factor that fits nicely in mining rigs in an open air environment. The ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus does not require you to use any riser cables if you don't want to. The board has 6x PCIe x16 slots with ample spacing between them for the 2.7 slot graphics card. This means you can populate the cards on the board itself. This approach, however, can lead to a lot of thermal issues for the graphics cards. The fan of the cards will not get access to fresh air if they're so close to each other. Therefore, you should still use riser cables for optimal performance. An attractive feature of the ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus is its use of the newer H510 chipset chipset on the LGA 1200 socket. This chipset supports Intel's 10th and 11th generation CPUs, which are very powerful and efficient. You can use a cheap Core i3 part to start your mining operation without giving it a second thought. Around the back, the board does contain an array of basic networking and USB ports. ASRock has provided an HDMI port for the display output, which is a nice touch. Storage is handled by the M2 slot on the front of the board. What is unique about this board is the addition of one mining port by ASRock. This port is a USB type riser kit port that can be used to install a USB-based riser. This can help you increase the graphics card count on this board. While the 6 times full-size PCIe slots are a nice addition, it would have been beneficial for ASRock to include more PCIe times 1 slots as well. That would have helped a lot in dividing the PCIe lanes for more graphics cards. Furthermore, the custom form factor makes it mandatory to install this board in an open mining rig. In that environment, you have to use PCIe risers anyway, therefore the full-size slots are a bit unnecessary. Still, the incredibly low price of the ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus makes it a real bargain when compared to similar mining motherboards on the market. You shouldn't have any second thoughts if you can find one in stock. Number 2, ASUS B250 Mining Expert. If you're looking for a high-end mining motherboard for your mining operation, then the ASUS B250 Mining Expert might just be the board for you. It sets itself apart from the rest by offering a whopping 19 PCIe slots. Yes, there are indeed 19 PCIe slots on this board. On the board, 18 of which are of the PCIe times 1 variety. You will need a lot of riser cables for this motherboard, but it does have one of the highest GPU support count. An excellent feature of the B250 Mining Expert is the use of 19 decoupling capacitors to stabilize the power of the GPUs. Since the board uses the innovative ATX 12-volt design, the power delivery is handled in a different way, and thus the power output is cleaner and less prone to instability. The capacitors of the board also don't produce much electrical noise, which is a welcome feature in a mining rig. The ASUS B250 Mining Expert also has some more unique features up its sleeve. There's a built-in debugging and management system named PCIe Slot State Detection, which shows the status of all 19 GPUs to the user at all times. The BIOS on the board is optimized for mining, and it has several nifty little options to streamline this experience. In terms of hardware, the board is quite basic, with support for 6th and 7th gen Intel processors via its B250 chipset on the LGA 1151 socket. The 2x DIMM slots support the maximum of a 32 Gigabyte DDR4 RAM, and there's a basic assortment of USB ports around the back. It does support M2 storage and has an HDMI port as well, which is quite nice. However, the problem with the B250 Mining Expert is its exorbitant price. It is quite a bit more expensive than competing options with similar features. Granted, there's no board on the market, in our knowledge, that supports 19 GPUs at once. However, the price tag is still not approachable for most miners. There is a matter of availability as well, since this is a very low production product. It's often quite hard to find this board in stock. If you can afford it, however, and you are positive that you will have a decent return on investment within a short period of time, then definitely go right ahead and buy it. Conclusively, the ASUS B250 Mining Expert is the best premium mining motherboard on the market right now. Number 1, ASRock H110 Pro BTC Plus. The H110 Pro BTC Plus is an impressive all-rounder when it comes to mining motherboards. It offers an excellent value proposition that makes it our choice for the best mining motherboard. The highlight feature of the H110 Pro BTC Plus is its support for 13 maximum GPUs. You can make use of the 12 times PCIe times 1 slots in addition to the single full-size 16 times slot to reach that number. The PCIe slots are very close together, so you might have to struggle a little bit in the initial setup. Many users suggest using electrical tape between the risers to separate them when installing multiple risers on the times 1 slots. ASRock has gone with the H110 chipset for this particular mining motherboard. This chipset uses the LGA 1151 socket and supports the 6th and 7th gen Intel processors. You can use a Celeron or Pentium processor from that generation to kickstart mining on a budget. However, the platform is fairly old at this point, and you might only find used processors of this generation. Mining motherboards are not often judged by their appearance, but most of them are quite unattractive due to the different colored PCBs that are used by manufacturers. ASRock, however, has gone with a neutral black PCB, which is a nice addition. In terms of features, ASRock H110 Pro BTC Plus offers all the basics, such as a reliable power delivery system for the CPU, 2x DIMM slots for your memory, and a host of basic USB ports. The board also has support for M2 storage. Display output is handled by a single DVI-D port on the back. It would have been nice to see an HDMI output here, as competitors do offer this feature. A unique feature of the ASRock H110 Pro BTC is the presence of onboard power and reset switches. These buttons allow you to quickly reset or turn off your mining rig without plugging in any reset buttons. Overall, the ASRock H110 Pro BTC Plus sets itself apart with its excellent value proposition as well as its support for 13 GPUs. There are a few minor issues here and there, but the overall package is worth a solid recommendation. That's why it's our choice for the best mining motherboard. So what do you think? Which of these 5 is the best mining motherboard for you? Or do you think another motherboard is better? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.